Last year, Amazon, the company, made $11 billion in profit. That's 1/3 of the GDP of the entire state of Vermont. It's a ton of money. But remarkably, Amazon did not pay a single dime of federal income tax. And they're not alone. Dozens of profitable corporations paid nothing in federal income taxes this year. Delta Airlines, Chevron, GM, more. Some of them are even getting tax rebates they can apply later. It's a weird system we have. Our tax code is broken, but almost no one's saying anything about it.
Who's going to turn it off?
Andrew! What you talking about? You know, he going to hit the off switch.
So what do you see a problem with the richest guy in the world owning the political paper of note and being in bed with the CIA, and he's on a Pentagon board?
Yeah. No, it's all spooky.
It's like some kind of Orwellian fucking nightmare.
Well, he's got so much money.
And you can't criticize him in the paper. They won't let the people who write for that paper aren't going to fucking criticize.
The Washington Post can't write anything bad about it.
They're not going to write. I
couldn't imagine they would even dare.
One guy wrote something bad about Amazon in the Huffington Post. He got disciplined. There was a guy who was a writer for the Washington Post, wrote something in the Huffington Post that was critical of Amazon, and he got disciplined at the Washington Post for doing that. So that's the world we live in. And then we have the government. If you ever try to tell about a crime inside the government, then the government will use the Espionage Act to crack down on you. So we're living in an oligarchy, Joe. Our democracy has already been taken from us. So you know that this isn't a democracy. They've done studies. This is provable.
Well, it'd be fantastic if Amazon just came clean. What irritates the heck out of me is that Amazon seems to just be planting all these puff pieces everywhere about all the jobs they create. And Amazon, no doubt, creates a lot of jobs. But then you can't look at the jobs they're creating in isolation. It's like they open up a fulfillment warehouse that employs, let's call it 20,000 people. How many retail workers worked at the malls that went out of business because of Amazon? So first, the greatest thing would be if Jeff Bezos just stood up one day and said, hey, the truth is we are one of the primary organizations automating away millions of American jobs. We're creating jobs, yes, but we're automating, in all certainty, a much higher number. And I have friends who work at Amazon, and they say point blank that we are told we are going to be trying to get rid of our own jobs. Like, it's not like Amazon, you get inside there and they're like, oh, we're going to, make this like the most human-centered organization ever. It's like, no, the goal is to make yourself obsolete. And if you succeed, then we'll either have no use for you or, maybe if you're lucky, there'll be some other place for you in the organization. So we need to have an honest conversation about the impact of automation, and it would be tremendous if Jeff just came out and said, it's not our intention, but we are 100% going to automate away many other Americans' jobs.
Yeah, you think of technology and technology awareness. It's like if there was a topological map of technology awareness, it's mostly flat with a few short buildings and then some very tall spires. And unless you're on that very tall spire, it's not obvious what the topology is.
Yeah, I never worry about the things that I cannot solve. I left other people to solve it. Sure. If nobody can solve it, just let it be. That's my life.
And that's not going to change, is my point. This won't get better for people that don't like him. I ignore all that stuff. And,
So you make the case that these companies, take Amazon, but it could be Chevron, it could be GM, are profitable because of the investment the United States as taxpayers, in part, have given to them, and they're giving nothing in return. How do we fix this?
Yeah, and Amazon's the most egregious example, where they're now soaking up $20 billion in business and causing 30% of American malls and stores to close, and taxpayers are seeing zero in return. So if you look at what other advanced economies have done, they've figured this out. They've said, look, we need to have a mechanism in place so that Amazon's going to pay its fair share along with Netflix and Delta and these other companies that are paying zero in taxes. So what they've done is they've adopted a value-added tax, where then the American people would get a tiny slice of every Amazon sale, every Google search, and on and on. And it's very, very hard for companies like Amazon to game their way out of a value-added tax system.
So why don't we have that?
It's a great question. I mean, people have been advocating for it for quite some time, and my campaign is advocating and championing it right now because we need to wise up to the fact that companies like Amazon are very smart and moving their earnings through places like Ireland, where the American taxpayer will see none of it, whereas a value-added tax will make it impossible for them to sell to us without paying into
our society their fair share.
Who's going to turn it off?
Andrew, what you talking about? You know, he gonna hit the off switch.